right, before we start our championship match here, a couple of reminders. Everyone, please stick around at the conclusion of this match for our awards presentations. Once again, let's have a big round of applause for all 10 teams and all of their coaches.
I'm not going to do that.
All right, let's start with the buzzer check, Middletown. All right, Middletown, introduce your team for this championship match.
I'm Isaac Hohen,
I'm Jan Michalowski.
I'm Will Tooten.
I'm Evan Ruderman.
and we'd like to make a shout out to Jerry Donald for being a wonderful county councilman and an even better AP Poli-Sci teacher.
Frederick.
To my left is Merrill Wang. To my immediate right is Sam Melcher. To my far right is Noah Anderson. I'm Jules Shabbat. And in case you missed it the first time, we'd like to congratulate our principal, Ms. Campanoli, for being named the Washington Post Outstanding Principal for Frederick County.
Guys, we gotta be fast.
Urbana.
So to my right is Jared Armstrong. To my immediate left is Yaya Chima. To my far left is Rishabh Nahar. I'm Sarada San, and I'd like to thank my dad for coming to support me at every single match that I've played at.
You've got to be fast. Be ready.
Round one is our speed round. 10 questions on a recurring theme or topic. Buzzer system recognition. 1 point up for a correct response, 1 point down for any incorrect responses. Tonight's round one category, words that start with the letters E-U. Question 1. A more mild word substituted.
Urbana.
Euphemism.
Euphemism is correct. Question 2. A mental and emotional condition.
Middletown.
Euphoria.
Euphoria is correct. Question 3. This is the controversial act of ending a life to alleviate.
Frederick.
Euthanasia.
Euthanasia is correct. Question 4. Also called Holy Communion.
Urbana.
Response, please.
Eulers.
No, we needed Eucharist there. Question 5. This names the primary food of the.
Urbana.
Eucalyptus. Eucalyptus.
Eucalyptus is correct. Question 6. This names a speech in praise of a person.
Urbana.
Eulogy.
Eulogy is correct. Question 7. This interjection is used to celebrate a discovery.
Urbana.
Yeah, Eureka.
Eureka is correct. Question 8. This is the only continent that.
Europe.
Europe is correct.
Middletown.
Question 9. This adjective is often used alongside the word geometry.
Middletown.
Euclidean.
Euclidean is correct. And finally, question 10. This is a trick-taking card game popular in the Great Lakes.
Middletown.
Euchre.
Euchre is correct. That ends round 1. Round 2 is our individual school round. No buzzers needed, no penalties for any incorrect responses. Each team will get 6 questions of their very own. Middletown, introductions.
I'm Sarah Martin.
We'd like to give a shout out to our principal, Miss Jeffrey, for being here tonight.
Frederick.
To my left is Jacek Maloskis, and we would like to thank all of our teachers for coming out and supporting us tonight.
Urbana.
To my immediate left is Arvind Ganeshan. To my far left is Keshav Ramanathan, and I'd like to thank Mr. Chavez who came out to support us.
All right. Frederick, A, B, or C for Middletown?
B.
All right, Middletown, here we go. Shakespeare's King Lear focuses heavily on devious machinations that drive families apart. King Lear's youngest daughter, Cordelia, tries to set things right after her 2 older sisters set into motion a course of events that start to tear the realm apart. Name these 2 cruel daughters of King Lear.
Reagan and Goneril.
Reagan and Goneril is correct. Question 2. The problem to be solved is not what form of government is perfect, but which of the forms is least imperfect. This idea is debated to this day, but the quote itself is attributed to this father of the Constitution.
James Madison. Madison.
Madison is correct. Question 3. Name the most populous city in Delaware.
Wilmington.
Wilmington is correct. Question 4. This planet has the fastest orbital period of any of the planets, no known satellites, and its surface temperatures vary greatly due to it having almost no atmosphere.
Mercury.
You didn't even need me to finish. All right, yes, Mercury is correct. Question 5. The iconic classic rock band, the Rolling Stones, formed in 1962 and is still going strong to this day. 2 men from the band are very well known, even to casual rock fans, guitarist Keith Richards and this singer known for his distinctive voice and cocky strut.
Mick Jagger.
Jagger is correct. And finally, question 6. Parts of this series of fortifications were built as far back as the 7th century BCE. With all of its branches counted, it measures over 13,000 miles in total length. Name this massive wonder of the modern world that was originally constructed as a means of protection from invaders.
The Great Wall of China.
Great Wall of China is correct. That ends round 2 for Middletown.
I just heard.
Urbana, A or C for Frederick?
C.
All right, 6 questions for Frederick. Question 1. Of the many pairings present in Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, most of them are human couples. However, one of the story threads revolves around a tumultuous relationship between these 2 individuals, the king and queen of the fairies. Response, please.
Oberon and Titania.
Oberon and Titania is correct. Question 2. Nothing brings out the lower traits of human nature like office seeking. In election season, these words often ring painfully true. We may think that this quote comes from someone opposed to government, but the quote is actually attributed to this 19th U.S. president.
Hayes.
Hayes is correct. Question 3. Name the most populous city in the state of Wisconsin.
Milwaukee.
It sounds like you got saved at the last second there from the side. Yes, Milwaukee is correct. Question 4. This planet has the coldest planetary atmosphere in our solar system and has an odd tilt in its axis that places its poles where the equator lies on most other planets. Name this ice giant that has the 3rd largest planetary radius in our solar system.
Uranus.
Uranus is correct. Question 5. This classic rock icon was definitely born in the USA, New Jersey to be exact, but I don't think he was actually born on E Street. Name this 20-time Grammy Award winner known to his fans as The Boss.
Springsteen.
Springsteen is correct. And finally, question 6. This Art Deco statue of Jesus is considered one of the new 7 wonders of the world. It took 9 years to build and stands 98 feet tall, not counting its 26-foot pedestal. Give either the name of this famous statue or the country in which it stands.
Christ the Redeemer.
Christ the Redeemer, and that is in Brazil. That ends round 2 for Frederick. All right, Urbana, you guys have packet A. Question 1. The plot of William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet revolves around the fact that 2 houses of Verona are embroiled in a pretty serious feud. Name the 2 houses that serve as the focal point of this piece.
Capulet and Montague.
That is correct. Question 2. As to the presidency, the 2 happiest days of my life were those of my entrance upon the office and my surrender of it. I'm sure a number of presidents have felt this way throughout history, but the quote itself is often attributed to one U.S. president in particular. Name this oft-forgotten 8th U.S. president.
Van Buren.
Van Buren is correct. Question 3. Name the most populous city in the state of Kansas.
Wichita. Wichita.
Wichita is correct. Question 4. This planet takes its name from the Roman god of agriculture. Name this planet that has 53 named moons and hundreds of moonlets. Response?
Saturn.
Saturn is correct. Question 5. The classic rock band Aerosmith was formed in Boston in 1970. Since then, they have garnered a reputation as one of America's greatest rock bands. The most well-known member of Aerosmith is their flamboyant lead singer, who throughout his career has battled drug addiction, served as a judge on American Idol, and fathered a daughter who appeared in the Lord of the Rings films. Name this rock icon.
Steven Tyler.
Steven Tyler is correct. And finally, question 6. One of the most recognizable buildings on earth is this ivory white marble mausoleum in India that was commissioned in 1632 to house the tomb of Shah Jahan's favorite wife. Name this building, whose name is Persian for crown of palaces.
Taj Mahal.
Taj Mahal is correct. That ends round 2. All right, that brings us to round 3. Round 3 is our math round. 5 of the 10 questions in this round will be designated as math questions. When I finish reading a math question, teams will have 30 seconds to calculate their responses. Once they buzz and are recognized by the scorer's table, they must provide those responses immediately. Middletown, any introductions?
I'm Colin Fields.
I'm Alejandro Valdez.
And we'd like to give a shout out to Mr. Tolai.
Thank you. Frederick.
To my immediate right is Cole Siervo, and we would like to once again thank all of our parents for coming out and supporting us.
Urbana.
To my right is Srinikit Rachuri. To my immediate left is Keshav Ramanathan. And I would like to thank all the government officials who came out to the match, including Superintendent Terry Alban. I'm glad you're feeling better after the snowstorm last month. And Sarah Perez, here's hoping you get elected to a second year.
All right. Here we go, folks. Round 3. Question 1 is a math question. A salesman buys a coat at $64, less 12.5%. He then sells the coat at a gain of 25% of his cost, after allowing a 20% discount on the marked price. What is the marked price in dollars of the coat? That was $87.50. Question 2. In what room will you find the worst thing in the world in the novel 1984? That's room 101. My 10th graders from last semester down in the Walkersville section are all like, I wish we were up here right now. I totally knew that. Question 3 is a math question. Subtract 173 from 342 in base 8.
Urbana.
147.
147 is correct. Question 4. Which U.S. president's 6-word memoir could read, I took over after Richard's resignation?
Urbana.
Ford.
Ford is correct. Question 5 is a math question. A basketball player is on the line to shoot a 1-and-1 free throw. In a 1-and-1 situation, a second shot is allowed only if the first shot is successful. If the player's free throw shooting average is .75, what is the probability that he will score exactly 1 basket?
Middletown.
18.75%.
I needed 3/16 there. I was going to say express your answer as a common fraction, so if that was the equivalent still. Question 6. Give the term that references both the flow of water that occurs when excess stormwater, meltwater, or other sort.
Middletown.
Runoff.
Runoff is correct. Question 7 is a math question. A set of test scores is normally distributed. If 95% of students scored between 28% and 84%, how many percentage points above the mean did a student have to score to outscore 99
Middletown.
42.
No, I needed 98 there. Question 8. The 2015 World Series featured these two.
Urbana.
No, Kansas City Royals and, oh, God.
Response, please.
East. The Mets and the Royals.
The Mets and the Royals is correct.
Nice.
Question 9 is a math question. The value of a consonant is 3 more than the value of a vowel. Given that the sum of the values of the 11 letters in mathematics is 10, what is the sum of the values of the letters in the word math?
Middletown.
5.
5 is correct. And question 10. How many states made up the Confederacy?
Urbana.
11. 11, yeah, because it was the original 7 and then the 4. 11.
11 is correct.
Trying to.
That ends round 3. Round 4 is our predetermined category round. Tonight we will have 10 questions on national parks. Middletown, any new introductions?
I'm Garrett Posey.
And I'm Camden Rayner.
Frederick.
To my left is Emma Erickson, and to my far right is Ariana Dyer, and we would like to thank our whole team for its continuing support.
Urbana.
To my far right is Patulia Shantaram, and I'd like to thank our coaches, Mr. Hayes, Ms. Sharon Coleman, and Senator Kavanaugh.
All right. 10 questions on national parks. Question 1. Name the Colorado National Park that joined the party in 2004.
Urbana.
Great Sand Dunes.
Great Sand Dunes is correct. Question 2. The second national park signed into law occurred in
Urbana.
Mackinac. Second national park signed in was Mackinac.
Yep, I'll take Mackinac National Park. It was decommissioned later, about 20 years later. Question 3. This national park is centered on the Green River.
Urbana.
Canyonlands?
No, Mammoth Cave is what we needed there. Question 4. Name both of the U.S. national parks that are not located in any of the 50 states.
Frederick.
American Samoa and Virgin Islands.
That is correct. Question 5. As of 2015, how many official units?
Urbana.
59. Oh, over 400. Just go 59?
I was going in a different direction there. It was 409 that I was going to be needing there. Question 6. This California National Park was established in large part due to a grant signed by Abraham Lincoln in 1864. In a way, this grant laid the foundation for the national park system. Name this national park, which shares its name with the first name of one of Bugs Bunny's main adverts.
Urbana.
Yosemite.
Yosemite is correct. Question 7. Glacier National Park and Glacier Bay National Park are in 2 different states. Name
Middletown.
Montana and Alaska.
Montana and Alaska is correct. Question 8. The Grand Canyon was our 15th national park, but was almost our second. This future president was a senator in 1882 when he first put forward a bill to make the Grand Canyon a national park. He tried again in 1883 and 1886, but his bill failed on each occasion. Name this man who, as president, did establish the Grand Canyon Forest Reserve in 1893.
Middletown.
Response, please.
Grover Cleveland.
No, we needed Benjamin Harrison there. Question 9. This California National Park features the largest plug dome volcano.
Frederick.
Lassen Volcanic National Park.
Lassen Volcanic is correct. And finally, question 10. This national park, despite its name, is actually a collection of giant natural amphitheaters.
Urbana.
Bryce Canyon.
Bryce Canyon is correct. That ends round 4. All right, that brings us to round 5. 20 questions to determine our 2016 county champions. Middletown, any last introductions or thank yous?
We would like to thank all of the Frederick County Public Schools staff for coming out to celebrate us as students competing in this pinnacle of academic achievement that is the academic tournament of Frederick County.
Frederick.
No new players, but this is my 4th year on academic team, and this has kind of been my sport because I'm not very athletic. But and I'd like to thank everyone that made this a great journey for me.
Urbana.
We have no new players, but we have the utmost respect and gratitude for Mr. Mark Kavanaugh, who has been, for 21 years, Urbana's prime academic team coach. I'd like to thank you for putting us on the hype train one more time, and we're going to try and win this for you, Cav.
All right, teams, 20 questions. Here we go. Water, water everywhere, and all the boards.
Frederick.
Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner by
Rhyme.
Samuel Taylor Coleridge.
Yes, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner is correct. Nicely done. One of my favorite poems, in part because Iron Maiden wrote a 13-minute song, paraphrasing it. Question 2. March 1st will give us a really strong indication as to who will win.
Urbana.
Super Tuesday.
Super Tuesday is correct. Question 3. This bacterial disease, known as Hansen's disease,
Middletown.
Leprosy.
leprosy is correct. Question 4. This major European river rises in Switzerland, passes through Lake Geneva, and runs through southeastern France.
Middletown.
Response, please.
The Seine.
No, I needed the Rhone there. Question 5. This names a conception of the ancient Greek afterlife separate from Hades, where the righteous and heroic,
Frederick.
Elysium.
Elysium or the Elysian Fields would be acceptable. Question 6. Most of this man's fictional works were set in the semi-fictional region of Wessex. Name this English novelist and poet known for works such as Jude the Obscure and Tess of the D'Urbervilles.
Frederick.
Response, please.
No response.
We need a Thomas Hardy there. Question 7. Name the 1850s conflict that saw Russia lose to an alliance.
Middletown.
The Crimean War.
Crimean War is correct. Question 8. Name the American woman whose cells from her cancerous tumor were cultured by George.
Frederick.
Lax.
Henrietta Lacks is correct. Question 9. Name the most populous city in the state of.
Middletown.
Louisville.
No, we needed Montana, or Billings for Montana. Question 10. This godfather of shock rock has been active since the late 1960s, and his original band was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2011. Name this man, born Vincent Furnier, who is known for such rock classics as School's Out and.
Urbana.
Alice Cooper.
Alice Cooper is correct. Question 11. Shakespeare's Sonnet 130 begins with the line, "My mistress's eyes are nothing like the blank." Fill in the blank.
Middletown.
Stars.
No, we needed sun there. Question 12. 15 years is a large gap between a film and its first sequel, and most moviegoers, it seems, just haven't really been into the cameo-laden sequel starring Penelope Cruz, Owen Wilson, and Ben Stiller.
Urbana.
Zoolander. Zoolander 2.
2 is correct, yes. Question 13. Name the October 2012 hurricane that devastated.
Frederick.
Hurricane Sandy.
Sandy is correct. Question 14. A famous Robert Frost poem concludes with the line, "One could do worse than be a swinger of this type of tree," which also names the poem. One could do worse than be a swinger of birches. Question 15. The following quote comes from which U.S. president? "Change will not come if we wait for some other person or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek."
Middletown.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
No, that was Barack Obama. Question 16. This Norse god is the second son of Odin.
Frederick.
Loki.
No, that was Balder. We needed there. Question 17. In what year did the following events occur? The Space Shuttle Columbia tragedy, the Iraq War.
Middletown.
2003.
2003 is correct. And question 18. This man was instrumental in the founding of the FBI in 1935.
Urbana.
J. Edgar Hoover.
J. Edgar Hoover is correct. Question 19. What literary character would say the following? "The shame my father lived in haunts me still. My eldest son rebels against me. If only my favorite daughter, Azinma, was a boy." That's a conquo from Things Fall Apart. And finally, question 20. How many states were in the Union at the start of the 19th?
Urbana.
century, so, no, at the start of the 19th century, so 18, I want to say...
Response, please.
15.
16. That ends the match.
Every year we have at the academic tournament a special award given to someone a member of the staff of FCPS, who has contributed greatly to the success of the academic tournament. As you know, I'm the coordinator of the academic tournament. I'm in my 5th year now, and I have relied very heavily on one person to do everything for me, and therefore making me look good. Okay. And that person, believe it or not, is someone who is rather self-effacing, very modest, never takes credit for anything, and that person happens to be Cheryl Peters. So please, Cheryl Peters, come up here. Cheryl Peters works on the 4th floor. She has a little cubby way up there, and she reminds me of everything. She does everything for me immediately, just like that, without any complaints. She is absolutely terrific at doing her job, so we should be very proud. FCPS should be extremely proud of the job that Cheryl does for all of us right here at the academic tournament. This year, I had to convince her to get her you-know-what in here. With no excuses. So I'm so glad that you finally made it, and here you are.
Thank you.
And not yet. And her colleagues up there on the 4th floor got together and actually gave her a nice little bouquet.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Now, if I may bring let's see, the coaches from Urbana they would like to make a little presentation. Is Dale here? Okay. Oh, yeah, Barbara? Okay. As Big Mouth Mr. Armstrong said several times, that Mr. Kavanaugh, Mark Kavanaugh, teacher at Urbana High School, has been coaching the team for many years, and they have a little presentation for him. So please, Urbana, come over here. We have a whole bunch of old-timers leaving academic tournament coaching this year, and one of them is, of course, Mark Kavanaugh. Right up there.
Kavanaugh,
to what extent have you impacted us?
For those of you who don't know, Mr. Kavanaugh is our Theory of Knowledge teacher as well as our academic team coach.
And for those of you who still don't know, Theory of Knowledge is a course about knowledge itself.
The cool thing about TOK is that it's 2 years long, so those students lucky enough to have him for TOK get to embrace and enjoy his half-century of wisdom for twice as long.
Such wisdom as, don't pay minimum payments on a credit card, or you'll end up paying $1,500 for a $300 stereo.
And who can forget the time when Will and Haley tricked him into thinking he got in trouble with the police?
Yes, Mr. Kavanaugh, Coach Kavanaugh.
Though you've told us a fair share of puns.
Hey, no, don't knock terrible puns, not up here. Puns are sacred.
Okay.
Sorry.
We are incredibly saddened to see you go. You've coached me since my freshman year and urged me to keep embracing my knack for trivia. You have let me have the opportunity to play on the It's Academic TV show as only a sophomore, and we made it all the way to the Baltimore Regional Championships the next year. All of that while fearlessly beating cancer. You empowered us because you really care about us, and you are there for our students all the time.
Even though I've only been able to spend 2 of my 4 ACT team years with your squadron, I'm absolutely grateful for what you've done for not only me, but for the entire team in the Urbana community. You're the one who gets us motivated, who knows what we're good at, what we need to work on, and how to push us to be our best. You've really been an inspiration to each and every one of us, and you've been doing this for longer than any ACT team member in this room has been alive. That just goes to show how special you've been for all these years.
So consider this our bid adieu. And on behalf of the entire team, we'd like to thank you for everything you've done for us, for your classes, and everyone around you.
And in return, we solemnly swear to never forget that Long Day's Journey into Night was written by
Eugene O'Neill. Or that your favorite actor is.
Dennis Hopper.
We also won't forget to be thankful for how you've helped us become who we are today.
And we certainly won't forget that the best coach in history is Buzz
Mr. Kavanaugh.
Mr. Kavanaugh.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very nice.
Yep. Two more lines, one each.
Okay. We try to find a counterclaim to make this a really good TOK paper, but there is no coach that we'd rather have.
And that's the extent to which you've impacted us, Kavanaugh. We cannot thank you enough. We cannot thank you enough for what you've done. Thank you.
And then we have somebody, let's see, Mr. Felt, who is the coach for Frederick. Please come up here, and with whoever. Mr. Nick Felt is math teacher at Frederick High School, and he has something to say about someone very dear to Frederick High team. I have no idea who it is. Have you any idea who that might be? Frederick High?
So I'd like to say first that when I just told Beth to get ready to come up here, her response was, whatever. For the last 30 years, Beth has been teaching social studies, social sciences at Frederick High School. And for the past 6 or 7 years, she doesn't even know exactly how many to be sure, she's been coaching her academic team. And what a fantastic job she's done. I'm thrilled that she's let me take a part in the last 2 years. And that she is finally passing the baton. I wish I'd opened my big mouth sooner. But clearly the commitment that she has shown to this team has inspired our students. She loves teaching our population, and I don't blame her. So thank you, Beth, for doing such a great job and paving such a great path that I look forward to taking next year.
Frederick High students, make that lady come here. Actually, drag her up here. There you go. This is getting old. Actually, these people are getting old. Last in line is Tuscarora High School. Ms. Nichols, will you please come up here with the students, perhaps, and have a presentation for someone who is retiring not only from coaching academic tournament, but also from teaching. So, yeah, please come. This is Simon Rupp from Tuscarora High School, and the assistant coach, for the time being, Meredith Nichols.
So after today, THS's extracurricular world will be losing a great, Anthony Rominsky. Starting out, he was an Army officer, where he served twice in combat with the 82nd Airborne Division. Then he went to work with the NSA. But then that's when it got interesting. He started teaching. In 2005, THS was lucky enough to have received him as a social studies teacher. Quick anecdote about that. So he was telling us once that when he first was new, all the other social studies teachers wanted to trip him up. So they'd ask him a bunch of trivia questions. It was pretty much like he was constantly playing trivia crack. But not only would he answer the question, he'd then give, massive depths of background of it. So I think there's two things our team has learned from him over the years. One is no matter what has happened in the past, you can still be great. You can still feasibly get first, which we didn't get today, but it'd been cool if we had. And the other is that you always can learn a little more about a subject. He always knew a lot more about a subject. Thank you, Mr. Raminsky.